With the exception of probably the months of August and September, down here in Zone 8B in South Georgia, we're always planting. We're always turning over plots, planting new stuff, whether it be vegetables or cover crops or flowers. We're always flipping these plots over. It's just part of growing food year round. And it's been a little while since I've taken you guys on a complete tour of all 10 of our plots to show you what's going on in each. A lot of our videos just focus on one particular plot, but I want to give you a little tour today, a little quick tour, what's going on in all these plots, and kind of give you an idea of what we're planning with upcoming videos, what we're going to be doing with some of these plots. Some of them are being turned over right now, some of them will be turned over in a month or so, and some of them are good to go on through the summer. So let's start out right here on these 6 plots that we call the Dream Garden. All these plots are 30 by 35. You can see this first one here is all cleaned up, ready to plant. It's been turned over. This is where we had our summer squash and our slicing cucumbers back in the early spring. Those were kind of, you know, getting a little disease on them. It was time to get them out of here. Got them out of here, you know, got rid of those plants, got this cleaned up. And we're gonna be planting a cover crop of sunflowers here in an upcoming video. Probably gonna be using our Hoss garden seeder to just densely plant some sunflowers in there. Nice little ground cover for the summer. Plot number 2 here is all okra. We're doing a little bit of a trial with several different varieties. We've got 4 rows of our favorite jambalaya okra there, and then 4 rows of these kind of heirloom OP varieties. These things are producing, not super heavy yet, but will be soon starting to get some production on some of those side shoots. And the results here have been kind of what we expected. That jambalaya always just produces a ton of okra. There's no other variety that really compares. But among these heirloom OP varieties, it's been kind of nice to see which of those are the most productive. And once those get going a little bit more, we'll give you some more details on kind of our results as far as this okra trial goes. Plot number 3 here is where we had our first planting of sweet corn. We planted that Avalon white triple sweet corn. Really like that variety. Grew really well. Nice big ears. We got 1 ear per stalk, but they were real big ears, real consistent production, and I like the way they all kind of matured at the same time. So we came in here with a mower, cut these stalks down. We might need to come back with a mower one more time. Still got our drip tape down below our rows here, and all that drip tape manifold is still hooked up over there. So what I'll probably do is I'll let this water run, kind of wet that area there, and it'll allow me to rip up that drip tape pretty easily. We might mow this, we might burn it a little bit just to get rid of some of them big stalks. And then, once we get it cleaned up, we're gonna come in here with a cover crop. Haven't really decided what I'm gonna plant. Leaning towards some iron clay peas. So we're gonna turn this over and cover crop this spot right here. Plot number 4 is where we were doing our bean succession planting. You can see we've got most of those beans out of here. We had some Kentucky blue pole beans there, some momentum beans, some royal burgundy beans. Over here we've got these half runner beans. They're just starting to flower, and so hopefully we can get some production out of these. You can see the flowers there. Hopefully we can get some production out of these before it gets too hot and they start dropping blooms. Right here we had some golden wax beans. Really like the production on those, but they had started to drop off. So we got those cleaned up. Probably not going to put anything right there just because that's a small little space. But over here, I've got a little surprise for you guys on the upcoming video. Something I've never grown before, and just figure we give it a shot. It's going to be exciting to see how it turns out. So stay tuned for that. Plot number 5 here is our second planting of sweet corn. This is a variety called Temptress. It's a quad sweet bicolor corn. It's probably between knee and waist high on me right now. Got real good germination. This stuff appears to grow really fast. Been shooting the fertilizer to it. It's pretty green, could probably stand to be a little more green. Some of the leaves here, we've been spraying them with spinosad to kind of have some preventative worm control there. And sometimes that spinosad will burn those leaves a little bit when it gets hot, but nothing really to worry about there. I'd rather have that than have a bunch of worms in here. So this stuff's growing fast, and I wouldn't be surprised if it starts tasseling here in about 3 or 4 weeks or so. Plot number 6, we've got our peppers held up with the Florida weave. And these peppers don't look that great, but they've actually been pretty productive. Now, if you follow the channel, you know I had some issues growing out my pepper transplants this year because we were trying to grow them out the same time we were some fig trees. And fig trees don't like fertilizer, but pepper transplants do, and we didn't get enough fertilizer to ours. So I had to go buy some from a nursery, and these are just some kind of standard run-of-the-mill OP varieties. So some of them have just bitten the dust of disease. The ones that are still standing are really productive. You get some nice bells, some nice bananas out of here. Now these over here on the end, they're starting to turn the corner a little bit, but they're just not doing anything. These are 2 rows of purple bells. And I think I'm just gonna rip these out of here. My buddy Wes over at the Naked Hog is supposed to be sending me some purple sweet potato slips. I've never tried those. So I think I'm gonna just pull up these 2 rows, put me a row of drip right in the middle there, and plant me a row of purple sweet potatoes. Because they'll be growing for a while, and these peppers here, the ones that have made it, they're not going anywhere. So had a little issues with our peppers, but we've figured out that if we kind of push them pretty hard with the fertilizer, they'll keep going. They're just not very hardy varieties. Like I said, we got them from a nursery. Don't even really know what varieties they are, what the name of it is, but they're not hardy compared to some of the hybrids we carry, but you know, it is what it is. We're getting peppers off of them, so that's all that matters. Okay, walking out of the dream garden into our biggest plot here, plot number 7. Got a lot of different stuff planted in here. Still got this row of Max Pack cucumbers, which is still producing really, really well. Super happy about that variety. Just getting about a 7-gallon bucket every other day off that 40-foot row. So those are still kicking good. I'll probably plant 1 more row of cucumbers somewhere else just to try to have some later into the summer, just in case those do bite the dust. 3 rows of summer squash here, slash zucchini. Got Pascola zucchini right there. Hasn't quite started to flower yet, but it looks like it should soon. Looks like there's some small flowers there, just haven't opened up. We've got some slick pick and gold star there, and here we've got all these round zucchinis. These have started to flower. So let me see if I can find one down here. Here we go. So there's some right there. We're just now starting to produce. Need them to get a little bit bigger. Hello, bee. And we'll be picking these guys pretty soon. The next row, we've got some eggplant. This is all one variety. I bought this from that nursery too. I don't know what variety it is, but they're doing pretty good. We've got them strung up with the Florida weave. Nice and stable here. We're starting to get some eggplants on them. You can see one right there. Like I said, I don't know what variety this is, but it will surely be tasty and we will surely enjoy it. Here we've got our American Giant Hybrid Sunflowers, which is a part of our little Sunflower Showdown 2020 with several other channels. Those are about knee high. We've been shooting the juice to those guys, and they're growing fast. I may even come in here and trim off some of them bottom limbs there, because we're trying to grow the tallest sunflower. So if we can make that plant grow taller, we'll definitely try to do that. Here we've got our sweet potatoes. You saw us plant in a video or so ago. Didn't seem to lose any slips. All the slips have taken well, started growing, looking nice and healthy. And once they get going, we'll heal those guys. But happy with the survival rate there on my sweet potato slips. Over here we got some more peppers, some hot bananas, and then some jalapenos. You can see our jalapenos are starting to put on there. We've been harvesting a lot of those hot bananas. Haven't harvested any of the jalapenos yet, but we'll be soon. Here we've got our cherry tomatoes that we've got growing on this Hortonova trellis. So far that's working pretty good. It's holding these plants up really nice. I have had to come in here and do a little pruning on some of these bottom ones. Just kind of stretch out and run along the ground. Just been pruning those off so it makes it easier to weed closer to this netting here. But happy with how this has worked for cherry tomatoes so far. I would still say I wouldn't use it for big tomatoes, but it seems to work really well for the cherry tomatoes. Plot number 8 here is where we got the rest of our tomatoes. And I'm not gonna go into a ton of detail here because we'll be doing a lot of videos about these guys, but we had some issues with our stakes rotting. We got that tropical storm in here, got a lot of slow rain. And I just tried to use these or reuse these wooden stakes for too many years. And some of them, the bottom kind of rotted and all this here kind of just fell over that way. And we had to kind of do some makeshift maintenance just to stand them back up, use some tomato cages, put some T-posts up there. Got everything stood back up. It's not perfect, but it's gonna work. And these things are loaded down with tomatoes. This red snapper variety, that's a big old tomato right there. That thing's bigger than a softball. So these things are just now starting to ripen. Gonna be harvesting a lot of tomatoes pretty soon, doing some canning and all that good stuff. Plot number 9 here is getting ready to be partially replanted. So we got this marigold sparky mix. Look how pretty those are there. That we planted back in the spring, and these things are just kicking along, doing really well. Bringing in the beneficial insects, pollinators, all that good stuff. We had some brassicas in here, kind of a late planting of brassicas. Got a little broccoli, a few rutabagas off of them. We got that cleaned up. Still got some collards here. I had to kind of prune off some of those bottom leaves. Some of them are starting to look rough, but still getting a little bit of collard production there. These things are holding on in the heat. This is that top bunch 2.0. But we're gonna come in here and put a row of cucumbers right here, a row of slicing cucumbers, probably the Olympian variety. And right here, we're gonna do one more row of squash. I wanna try these Lebanese squash we just added earlier this year. So we're gonna put those right there. And then our last plot, plot number 10, is where we're just being overrun by these South Anna butternut squash. This is the butternut variety that is cross between a Waltham butternut and a Seminole pumpkin, and these things are just everywhere. I've been mowing alongside of them here just to kind of keep them under control somewhat. Really, really vigorous, really disease resistant. Really haven't had to spray them at all. Got them on drip there, so been keeping them fed and getting a good bit of production off these guys. Lots of butternuts in here, lots of flowers. Let me go down here and see if I can show you one that's getting pretty big. So there's a nice one right there. You can see. So bees have been working these things really hard. See if we can see some bees doing some work there. There's one in there, right in there. There he goes. Anyway, so the bees have been getting on these pretty good, and they'll just keep growing until they die back. You know, when they die back, those stems harden, we'll get in here and harvest all of them. Looks like we're getting a little bit of dieback in the middle, but these things look like they got a long way to go, which is just fine with me because that's just gonna mean a bigger harvest. Now over here on the end, we've got some acorn squash. You can't see them because those butternuts have just kind of swallowed them up. And that may have been a little bit of a mistake on my part, but we've got some acorn squash in here somewhere. Let's see if I can find one. There we go. You see a few down there. So we'll have those as well as the butternuts for our winter squash harvest, which will be nice come, you know, a little later in the summer when all this dies back and we come in here and harvest it all at one time. So even though a lot of our early spring crops are toast, there's still a lot going on around here. A lot of planting being done, trying to squeeze in one more crop of some vegetables, doing some cover cropping on some of the other plots and putting some flowers in. So lots of good stuff coming up, and stay tuned. We'll have lots of good videos on what we're gonna be doing with some of these plots we're turning over here. I'll put a link below to all our seeds. So whether it's vegetables, cover crops, or flowers that you're wanting to plant right now, you can check out all of those. If you enjoyed this video, give me a big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and also hit that bell button so you get notified every time we come out with a new video. And check out these other two videos right here. If you like this one, you're gonna like those two as well. We'll see you next time.